Right now, beneath one of the most visited national parks in the world, something is building. A magma chamber 50 miles long, 12 miles wide, holding enough molten rock to fill 11,000 Empire State Buildings. In the last year alone, scientists recorded over 28,000 micro-earthquakes beneath Yellowstone. That's not normal. Something is moving. Yellowstone is not just a volcano. It's a supervolcano. And it is overdue. Today, we run the full timeline. Minute by minute. What actually happens when Yellowstone finally blows? Yellowstone has erupted 3 times in recorded geological history. 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and 640,000 years ago. Notice the pattern. It erupts roughly every 600,000 to 700,000 years. We are 640,000 years into that cycle. But here's what most people don't know. In 2015, researchers discovered the magma chamber is 2.5 times larger than originally estimated. It doesn't just sit under Wyoming. It connects to a deep mantle plume stretching thousands of miles beneath the North American continent. For millions of tourists each year, Yellowstone is a wonder. Geysers, hot springs, wildlife, a living postcard. But what they're actually standing on is the roof of a bomb. Mount St. Helens in 1980 leveled an area the size of a city. It killed 57 people. It was catastrophic. A Yellowstone eruption would be 1,000 times more powerful. On the Volcanic Explosivity Index, the scale scientists use to rank eruptions, most disasters in human history don't reach the top. Yellowstone sits off the chart entirely. So what happens, minute by minute, when it blows? Let's run the timeline. 0 hour. 6:47 a.m. The ground near Old Faithful splits open. Not just cracks, it tears. A fissure 40 miles long rips across the caldera floor. The pressure that has been building for 640,000 years releases in seconds. The eruption column rises at the speed of a jet aircraft. Within 10 minutes, it reaches 30 miles into the stratosphere. The sound alone, traveling at 767 miles per hour, is heard from Los Angeles to New York simultaneously. But the sound is irrelevant. Because 4 minutes after the eruption begins, the pyroclastic flows start. Superheated gas and rock, traveling at 450 miles per hour, at temperatures exceeding 700 degrees Celsius. Anything within 100 miles evaporates. Jackson Hole, Wyoming, gone in minutes. Bozeman, Montana, gone. Salt Lake City, reached by pyroclastic flows within 30 minutes. Denver, the ash cloud arrives before evacuation routes can open. FEMA's own models show that a successful evacuation of the Yellowstone region is essentially impossible. The roads overwhelm in the first 20 minutes. The pyroclastic flows arrive before most people reach the highway. By hour 1, 87,000 people in the immediate blast zone are dead. But this is not the worst of it. Not even close. Here's what makes Yellowstone uniquely terrifying. The ash. A VEI-8 eruption ejects over 1,000 cubic kilometers of material. It doesn't cover the local area. It covers the continent. Volcanic ash is not like wood ash. It is pulverized glass. Microscopic shards of silica with razor-sharp edges. When you breathe it in, it doesn't leave. It embeds in your lung tissue and begins destroying it from the inside. There is no treatment. There is no surgery. There is no cure. Every internal combustion engine within 500 miles stops within hours. The ash fuses in engine cylinders, destroys fuel systems, clogs every air intake. You cannot outrun this. Your car dies before you reach safety. When ash mixes with moisture, its weight triples. A standard American house can hold roughly 25 pounds per square foot before structural failure. 6 inches of wet volcanic ash weighs 120 pounds per square foot. Roofs across the Midwest begin collapsing within 48 hours. The supply chain collapses with the roads. The just-in-time systems that restock grocery shelves every 48 hours go silent. Food stocks in most American cities last 3 days. Some last 5. By day 3, the breadbasket of the world, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, is buried under a foot of volcanic glass. The crops that feed half the planet are gone. Stop. Because here's what most disaster videos won't tell you. Everything we've described, the pyroclastic flows, the ash, the collapsed rooftops, that's just the first 72 hours. The eruption itself isn't the extinction event. What comes after is. If you're still here, you're exactly the kind of person this channel was made for. The ones who don't look away. Who need to understand what's actually coming. Hit subscribe. Because what comes next is the part that changes how you see this planet forever. The ash and sulfur dioxide ejected by Yellowstone don't stay in the atmosphere for days. They stay for years, reflecting sunlight back into space before it can warm the surface. Scientists call it a volcanic winter. It is the real extinction engine. Within 6 months, average global temperatures drop between 5 and 10 degrees Celsius. That might not sound like much. But during the last ice age, the difference between then and now was only 6 degrees. A 10-degree drop collapses everything we've built. There is no summer. Growing seasons in the northern hemisphere collapse to zero. Crops fail not just in America, but in China, Russia, Europe, India. Every agricultural system built for a stable climate fails simultaneously. For 3 to 5 years, the sky is the color of rust. Sunlight reduced to 20% of normal. Plants that evolved over millions of years under a certain level of light begin to die quietly. Invisibly. The base of the food chain disappears, and most people never notice until it's already gone. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization estimates global food reserves can sustain the current population for approximately 10 weeks without new production. After Yellowstone erupts, there is no new production. The countdown begins the moment the ash cloud clears the stratosphere. By month 8, famine is declared in 40 countries. By month 14, it is everywhere. Governments try. And for the first few months, they hold. Emergency rationing. Military food distribution. International aid pledges. But there is no international aid when every nation is simultaneously in crisis. There is no outside rescue when there is no outside. Power grids begin to fail. Not from an EMP, but from the ash itself. Solar panels coated in glass particles generate zero power. Coal and gas plants can't process ash-contaminated air. Nuclear plants require cooling water that ash now contaminates. One by one, the lights go out. Permanently. Social order fractures along a predictable timeline. Psychologists call it the survival threshold, the point at which communities stop cooperating and start competing. Under this level of stress, that threshold is approximately 72 hours without food. We pass it within the first month. States begin closing their borders to refugees from ash zones, then from food-scarce zones, then from everywhere. America fractures, not as a nation, but as a geography. The phrase United States becomes theoretical. Within 18 months, most hospitals, schools, and public infrastructure cease to function. Not dramatically. Quietly. A hospital that can't get fuel. A water treatment plant with no chemical supply. A city that simply empties. The UN's worst-case projections estimate 4 billion dead within 5 years. Not from the eruption. From the collapse that follows. From cold. From starvation. From disease. From each other. Not everyone dies. The southern hemisphere receives significantly less ash. Australia, Argentina, Brazil, South Africa, they face food shortages, temperature drops, and mass migration pressure. But they survive as functioning societies. For a time. Small, self-sufficient communities with access to geothermal energy, stored seeds, and uncontaminated water sources survive in pockets. Iceland, already geothermally powered, becomes one of the most stable nations on Earth. But here's what's rarely discussed. Humanity has survived a supervolcano winter before. The Toba eruption, 74,000 years ago, was larger than what Yellowstone could produce. It reduced the entire human population to perhaps 10,000 individuals. We survived. We rebuilt. Over thousands of years, we came back. Volcanic soil is extraordinarily fertile. The regions buried in Yellowstone ash today will be among the richest agricultural land on Earth within a century. Civilization doesn't end. It resets. The question is not whether humanity survives Yellowstone. It's whether the version that survives still resembles us. But here's what changes everything. In 2024, researchers confirmed that the Yellowstone hotspot is part of a mantle plume system stretching thousands of miles beneath the North American plate. And that plume is moving. Over millions of years, the hotspot has migrated across the continent. Snake River Plain. Idaho. Wyoming. If the geological models are correct, the next Yellowstone might not be in Wyoming at all. Roughly 2 to 3 million years from now, the hotspot reaches Montana. Then the Dakotas. The supervolcano doesn't erupt and die. It moves. Like a blowtorch beneath the continent. Slowly. Silently. Inevitably. Yellowstone is not a threat we can outrun. It cannot be stopped. It cannot be redirected. It is a geological certainty. It is not a question of if. It is a question of when. And what we choose to do with the time we have before the answer arrives. Yellowstone reminds us that the ground we walk on is not solid. It never was. We are living on a thin shell of rock floating above an ocean of fire. But Yellowstone is just one of 1,500 active volcanoes on this planet. And they don't operate alone. They are connected through the same tectonic system. The same mantle pressure. The same geological heartbeat. What if that heartbeat synchronized? What if every active volcano on Earth erupted at the same moment? That answer is next. And compared to what comes after Yellowstone, this is a different kind of end entirely.